Hello, I'm Michael Swinford. Welcome to this edition of the Veteran Voice. Have you ever wondered what you could do to help our troops that come back from foreign wars? Did you ever think about handicap that some of them are and how you could possibly help them? Well, stay tuned and we're going to give you some ideas. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Veteran Voice. Today we have some very special guests from Lyon County, Kentucky. We have on my left Mr. Bill Hodges. In the middle we have Sue Augustine, and on the end Mr. Rick Gill. I heard about you about 6 months ago, and when I first heard about you I was overwhelmed by the obvious compassion that you showed for our wounded warriors. So I've asked you to come on today so we can sort of explore what you did, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Bill, would you tell me how all this started?
Well, Rick had heard about this through some people in Marion that got connected up with the Home for Troops to that builds homes for handicapped veterans and there's quite a history behind how this thing got started. But Rick and his wife Pat, they heard about this at Marion and what they were doing, so they went up, and that's how we really got started on it. They had a dinner fundraiser up there, and so since Chase Matthews is a native of Lyon County and just lives a couple of 3 miles from our post, after learning about Home for Troops and what we wanted to do for him for building a new home, we got involved through wanting to help in any way that we could. And a fellow by the name of Rick Goyette from Home for Troops, he was the fellow in charge of the project in Lyon County. So we felt like that with Chase Matthews being a local fellow, and we had a prime contractor there that got involved with Home for Troops, one of the top contractors in Lyon County. And he has known this young man since he was a baby. So he immediately got involved, and they got him as the prime contractor. And but anyway, we felt like that we could do a lot of good in the community that other people couldn't do, being a veterans organization. And so we kind of jumped in head first, and with the encouragement of mainly Rick, and that's how we got involved.
Rick, what were you thinking the first time you heard about this?
Well, my wife and I were at that fundraiser in Marion, and it was the first time I'd met Chase. I'd read a couple of newspaper articles about him, and it was just a moving experience. You hear about these young fellows that are coming back with serious injuries, but to meet one face to face, who's in Chase's case, he's a double amputee, one leg below the knee and one leg above the knee, and his left arm was severely injured. He has very limited use of it, but he's got spirit and he's got heart, and he's fought back for over 2 years now from having those injuries. He received in an IED explosion near Talil in Iraq when he was driving a Humvee. So the more we chatted that evening, and particularly with his wife, Jennifer, We already knew at that point that Homes for Our Troops had committed to building him a home in Kentucky. And this was the first home in Kentucky that Homes for Our Troops had built, and is in the process of building now. It's not completed yet. I asked Jennifer, what could we do for them in addition to assisting with the house? I felt like we had the capability as Legionnaires and the auxiliary to our Legion post that we could do a little bit more, and I kind of put our Legion on the line, because I asked her, Jennifer, do you have any furniture for this house that's being built? It's a very nice house. And she said, well, Rick, we live in a single wide mobile home that's not handicapped accessible by any stretch of the imagination, and most of our furniture is hand-me-down, used furniture, garage sale furniture. And I looked at my wife and I thought, okay, I'm going to jump for it. And I asked her, could we furnish your home for you? And she was just overwhelmed. And my wife kind of punched me in the ribs and said, what are you committing to here? And I said, we can pull this off. We can get it done.
Sue, how in the world, I understand you're president of the auxiliary?
Yes.
And that's the post in Lyon County, 68?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did they drag you into this project?
I think, well, we went to the first, my husband and I both went to the first meeting, and when the Homes for Troops came down, and then, you know, naturally, first thing they wanted us to do was to feed the men those 3 days. And I thought, okay, we can handle that, but I was kind of overwhelmed with our help, because we received, it was Marion, the Presbyterian Church in Marion women came forward and said, well, we'd like to do one day. And then one of our local, help me guys, what's the name
Wendy's.
of the? Wendy's,
Nolte's.
Right, Nolte's Barbecue, that's what I was
Nolte's
thinking of.
Barbecue.
Nolte's Barbecue in Calvert City?
Lake City.
Lake City.
Lake City,
Okay.
yeah. Nolte's Barbecue.
I'm from
Lake
New York.
City,
You'll
yeah.
have to. I'm new here. But and anyway, they provided one full meal, so that takes care of 2. And then we got donuts from Miss Nita's in Eddyville, and that took care of the coffee break. So we ended up doing. Wendy's did one lunch also. I'm talking about lunches here. So what we ended up doing was making sure we had lots of soda and lots of water and iced tea and all that those 3 days. And I didn't have any trouble getting our ladies to volunteer to help, and any of them were out there it was fun. Jennifer and Chase were there along with the daughter, and we got to meet everybody and watch the house go up.
So when these men were sweating out there in the sun doing this building, they knew they could get a good meal from somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice. What stage are you now on the completion of the house?
Well, the house is, we started building on a Thursday after the prime contractor had the foundation and the subflooring in. And we had volunteers, about 20 volunteer union carpenters to show up. Some of them were all the way from Florence, Kentucky, right across from Cincinnati. And so the 3 days, it grew out of the ground, so to speak, Michael. The walls went up, the rafters went up, the siding started going on, the windows up, roof on, and started putting the siding on. And that was on a Thursday morning. And Saturday, that home was on the roof. And right now, the electrical work is done. The plumbing is roughed in. We're waiting on the installation people right now to get started, which should happen in the next week or so. And then the drywall will go in, and they'll start finishing the inside of the home. And we've got a gentleman, we've had a lot of people that has been very generous in donating materials. One local fellow in our community owns a big nursery, and he's volunteered to do all the landscaping. There's just been numerous people volunteering to do certain things. But anyway, if things go according to plans, and we've had a little bit of slowdown here in some of the contractors being able to get there when they should, we hope sometime in the first 2 weeks of November, am I right, Rick, to be able to have them have the house available, and they will receive the title to the home. And
Rick, let me ask you a question. Your post, your American Legion post, it's made up primarily of men from what age group? Are you mostly Vietnam veterans or Korean veterans?
You know, I would, a year ago, if I answered that question, I would have told you that Vietnam, Korea, and a few World War II fellas. Mm-hmm. But just in the last year, we've picked up some Iraqi veterans, to include Sergeant Matthews and some of the fellows that served with him in Iraq. So, and we certainly entertain the bringing in of younger folks as the World War II guys grow older, and the Korean guys, and even us Vietnam era guys start to hit our 60, 65 age mark. We're looking forward to the youngsters coming in.
Well, I find it so good that no matter where you serve, when you serve, you all are serving together for a common purpose.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you don't see that out in civilian life. Everybody's going against each other, but this sounds like that you all have come together. So what needs to be done on this house? What help do you still need?
We're going to have, toward the end of October, and we haven't put a date on it yet, it'll probably be a weekend day, and it might even be the first week in November. We're going to have what we call a volunteer day. And that's where we'll solicit volunteers from out the community for a one-day effort to come in and clean the house, pick up debris in the lot, put finishing touches on the house, and do those kinds of things. And hopefully at that point we're at the stage where we're beginning to do the landscaping, and that volunteer day can also assist with some of the labor chores involved with the landscaping. We will lay some sod and do those sort of things also.
Sue, is Mr. Matthews and his wife, are they still living in this trailer?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Must be difficult for him to get around and everything.
Yes.
So what's your next step? Is this something that's going to continue on after this house is built? Do you think there's another one in the future?
Yes, Michael, we have several different projects planned, fundraisers for the very near future. And the money that we don't utilize, that we have raised, and it's probably already over what we needed to buy the furniture. Mm-hmm. There's other vets in our organization that need help, and anyone in our community or this area that's a vet that needs help, that's what we're there for. Mm-hmm. And we have gotten so many new members since they learned that this post has been so aggressive in doing what we've done, and it's got so many people's attention. And we get people a long distance away. You talk to them and they say, "Oh, I've heard about this project. I've read about it. That's an amazing thing that you guys are doing."
Well, isn't it true that in the past, the perception of some of the organizations are, well, they just sit around and tell war stories. That's about all they ever do, and vote every now and then on somebody else to sit around and tell war stories. But you guys and ladies are taking the lead in developing something that can help so many people in so many different ways, and you're to be commended for that.
Thank you.
How can the average person out there help you all? I mean, how can we help you?
On this particular project, we'll have a couple of more fundraising events. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I guess The important thing is to know that after this house is built, and after Chase and Jennifer and their daughter and their soon-to-be son, she's expecting a child in another month or so. Once that's over, it's not over. He needs help the rest of his life. He needs help with rehabilitation, with someone that can reach out. He wants to work for a living. He wants to be a part of society just like all those other wounded veterans. And I guess what we can all do in each of our daily lives is reach out in that manner. And he's not looking for handouts. He just wants a job. And we'll assist him with that effort and any other veteran that needs that kind of help that we can reach out to.
Well, in the future, he's going to need continuing assistance. I assume the VA is helping on some of this. But were there any government agencies or anybody that stepped up and said, well, we want to help Post 68 do this? Or did you kind of go it alone?
Well, I think we kind of went it alone.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
If the agencies were there, I missed them.
Yeah. Now I would say this, that during the 3 days that we had the Build Brigade assembled and we erected the house, during those 3 days, I think it was the morning of the first day, we had a ceremony where several of the state representatives and mayors were invited out to participate and find out firsthand what was going on. The newspapers were there and provided coverage. And the Veterans Administration, and I think this was a surprise to everyone, the Veterans Administration representative showed up and presented Homes for Our Troops with a check for $60,000.
Wow.
Now, that was a grant for their efforts in building these homes.
Well, did any of these politicians bring money with them?
No, I don't think they did, but they did bring their support.
Yeah.
And you know, Michael, once we got this whole project elevated where it was being publicized, and even in the Paducah Sun, we had a very nice article. We started getting letters and phone calls from people all over the community that we hadn't solicited support from. I can remember vividly, 3 weeks ago, I got a little envelope in the mail, no note, no anything, a check for $1,000. Wow. This is for Chase Matthews. And fortunately, there was a return address on it, so I can acknowledge the person that sent it.
Well, Americans have been known throughout history to step forward when they had to or when they wanted to, but after every disaster that they've always been there from everywhere converging to resolve the situation. We don't have to look too far back to see how that was done. But this is more of a personal type thing too, and you should be glad of this input from all these different people. So you'll have fundraisers throughout the year?
Yeah, we have for the last year and a half, we have fundraisers. We have bingo as our main fundraiser, and so some of that money will be used to assist other people and other veterans.
So you all think this is something that you may be doing again in the future, probably until you just can't do it anymore. Am I correct?
Yes, you are, Michael. We established some goals for ourselves when we first decided that we would take on the furniture project, and we war-gamed a series of fundraising events. And to tell you the truth, we've only got one fundraising event left. We've already exceeded our goal for the furniture fund. But knowing that there was potential to exceed what our needs would be for the Matthews furniture, we're rolling that over into a Wounded Warrior Fund. And the next fella or young lady that comes down the street from the Iraqi or Afghanistan conflict, or for that matter, any conflict, we'll have a nest egg of funds that we'll continue to replenish yearly with a chosen number of fundraising events.
Sue, isn't some of the other projects the Ladies Auxiliary are involved in? Could you tell me about those?
Yes, we send boxes over to the troops, and we try to send local, and we seem to be getting, since the Chase Matthew awareness, we seem to be getting more names, so we can send it to an individual. and it's full of shampoos and any kind of personal items. And they like little toys to play with, believe it or not. If you remember when you were a kid, there was a ball on a thing.
Yeah.
That seems to be a big hit, and it's and things like that, and little puzzles, and just something to get their mind off. And we've sent CDs from different any music people we can get, and we put those in, and it's the women's way. I mean, any of the money we make, we try to use it for postage.
That's good. Bill, do you get any input and help from the other organizations in the area?
We've gotten help from some other organizations in our area, the Lions Club, and some of the others. You can help me out here.
Well, the Red Hat Ladies,
Red Hat.
their organization has helped us out quite a bit.
Now, are they from Eddyville, the Red Hat Ladies?
Yes. The Lyon County Chamber of Commerce is helping us out a great deal, pointing us in the right direction for working donations and those kinds of things. They'll hold a golf tournament in a few months here, and they've indicated that they're going to give us a pretty good share of the proceeds from that golf tournament.
So that's good. The service organizations like American Legion, VFW, are they helping you in any?
One of the American Legions, I got a check the other night for $600. Wow. Yeah, we're getting cash donations from a lot of the different organizations in our area, and we've got prospects of people telling us that we're going to see a lot more of it.
The VFW in Princeton has been very generous, and I don't want to leave out the local churches. The local churches have been very helpful in supplying us manpower in some cases supplying meals and that sort of thing for the Bill Brigade. So the whole community's come together for this project.
Are there any other houses being built close by that you know of?
Yes, in Clarksville, Tennessee, there's one house that's been finished and one house that's under construction, but there's not another house that's been put on the schedule in Kentucky at this point.
Can people donate lots to you? If someone has a lot downtown here in Paducah, say, could they donate that lot to you so that in the future you could use it to build a house on it, something like that?
Certainly. The actual donation would go to Homes for Our Troops. Of course, if they want to donate if anyone would like to donate a home to or a lot to the American Legion, we would preserve that in trust for the Homes for Our Troops. And I'd like to say, Homes for Our Troops has a wonderful website. It's www.homesforourtroops.org. And then it's got links from that homepage, in this case, right to Sergeant Matthews. It tells the story of his injury and the home building project for him.
Well, it just sounds like a wonderful project from the heart, and I'm just truly amazed that you all would do this. How big is your post up there?
We've got, right now we have 102 members, and we're growing fast.
Well, you know, usually you can't get 10% of the members to do anything, but it sounds like you all are beating that 10% by a wide margin.
Yes.
And so what plans do you have for the next 5 years? Are you going to stay with this project? Are you going to maybe look at another project similar, or have you made any plans for the future like that?
Well, I think our goal, number one goal, Michael, is to assist veterans in any way that we can. Or other people in our community that have personal needs. We are hoping to expand our membership. We're trying to get more younger people involved, and with a lot of people with energy.
Yeah.
A lot of have worked. I've been working and Rick has too, and so Sue, for the last 4 months. That's practically all I've done to work on this we've done work on this home thing, and we've got another couple of months to go. You asked me a minute ago about people in the community to help. Like I said, we're going to have an auction here soon, but vendors, companies, even in Benton and some of the other areas, Calvert City, Paducah, they're volunteering real nice items. Even individuals we get calls all the time, and this could turn out to be, and we're going to hold it at our lodge, and that'll be a nice fundraiser. But people are just stepping up to the plate, and now that they've heard about this, and it's kind of opened the doors for us.
Do you have any idea how many people are out there that possibly need your help?
Oh,
I mean, I realize that's almost impossible to answer, but there has to be 10,000 people maybe?
In this area, Western Kentucky alone, there have to be thousands of folks out there that could use the help of the kind of help that we're giving to the Matthews family.
So this possibly needs to be expanded even on a bigger scale to accommodate all the wounded warriors that have come back and
certainly
need assistance. Is there anything you'd like to talk about that we maybe have glossed over today or have forgotten?
I think we've covered about everything we've done. The Homes for Our Troops outfit, I can't say enough about them. They're a nonprofit organization out of Massachusetts, and they're doing wonderful things.
Michael, one thing I like to say: any donations that we get that's going to go toward helping people, veterans and what have you, people want to donate. It's a tax-deductible contribution, and it's an encouragement for people to step up and help us with things like that.
Well, I sure enjoy having you all here today. It's been a real pleasure, Rick.
Thank you, Michael.
Sue, Bill.
Thank you, Michael, sir.
This is Michael Swinford. We thank you for being with us on this edition of the Veteran Voice. And remember, there are a lot of veterans out there that are coming home from the wars and they need some help. So if you'd like to be interested in this program and get involved in it, I'm sure the gentlemen and the ladies from Post 68 in Lyon County would be more than happy to have your help or your donations or your money. So this is Michael Swinford saying so long for now.